All right, thank you guys. Now I'm feeling great on a Friday morning because we went 3-2 in our 5 premium sports picks on BrockPage.com yesterday. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at BrockPage.com. We're 4-0 in our last 4 NBA tier package picks on that website. And the good news is we have another NBA tier package pick going off here today. We're also 12-2 with a push in our last 15 extra daily picks on that very same webpage. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We currently have over 950 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you end up really enjoying this video here today, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you want to connect with me on a daily basis and join the Brock Page family, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I'd love to connect with you. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into some Friday night college football. We're going to start with Southern Miss taking on Louisiana Tech. 8 o'clock Eastern kickoff Friday night. Louisiana Tech's minus 15.5, totals 49. And although the Bulldogs haven't been too good this season, they are coming off a really nice double-digit victory over Charlotte, where they actually hung up 42 on the 49ers. Matter of fact, LATECH averaged over 33 points a game in their last 3 outings. The Bulldogs also have a winning record at home this year. Smoke Harris and Trey Harris, they've combined for over 1,100 receiving yards together in 8 scores. Now, the Bulldogs do have a top 25 pass offense at home. They're taking on a 1-9 Southern Miss team who ranks 106th in the country in yards allowed per play on the road. Now, the Eagles have yet to win a game on the road this year. They currently find themselves in the middle of an 8-game losing streak. Now, total-wise, LATECH 4-1 of the over on their home field. They're also 70% of the over for the entire season at any location. I'm going to lean toward Louisiana Tech minus 15.5 over 49. Next matchup, not on our big screen, but it is going to be Air Force versus Nevada. 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Air Force is -1, totals 53. Now, the Falcons actually do play their best football on the road. They're 4-0 straight up when traveling this year, and they successfully covered the point spread in all 4 of those victories. Now, obviously, these guys run for like 1,000,000 yards a game. More like they run for over 310 yards a game, but you get the picture. Brad Roberts is rushing for over 106 yards a game, along with a dozen scores. Meanwhile, quarterback Hazik Daniels is gaining nearly 5 yards a carry himself, and he's also scored 9 times on the ground. But it's also this Falcon defense that's been really good this year as well. They're allowing just 17 points a game, and they're in the top 5 in the nation in defensive yards per contest. Vince Sanford has 6.5 sacks on the season, 44 tackles, and 3 forced fumbles. And speaking of tackles, Trey Taylor has 48 tackles on the season, along with 3 PBUs and a pick. They're taking on a Nevada team who lost 2 out of their last 4. And they allowed over 25 points a game during that stretch. Now, the Wolfpack's been little threat to run the football. They're not focused on establishing a run game. They're actually 129th in the country in rush yards per contest. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the ball, these guys actually tend to break down late in games. They're 106th in fourth quarter points allowed at home. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Nevada's last 5 meetings with Air Force got over the line. The Wolfpack's also 60% of the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Air Force -1 over 53. Next matchup, Memphis, Houston, 9 o'clock Eastern kickoff. Houston's -8.5, total 60. But despite being favored in this one, Houston's failed to cover in 2 out of their last 4. And even worse than that, their defense has been a mess during that stretch. 34 points a game they allowed in their last 3 contests, throwing out the Temple game. Meanwhile, offensively, the Cougs have actually done a pretty lackluster job running the football at home. Now they're taking on a Memphis club who successfully covered the point spread in 2 out of their last 4 themselves, with one of those covers actually being an outright victory over SMU. Memphis does a real nice job throwing the football. As a matter of fact, the Tigers have a top 20 pass offense. Seth Hennigan's thrown for nearly 2,800 yards and 21 touchdowns for Memphis. Meanwhile, wide receiver Calvin Austin III has 8 touchdown grabs and averages 103 yards a game receiving. The Tigers are averaging 32 points per contest. They're 3-1 to the over when traveling this year. Meanwhile, Houston's 60% to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Memphis plus 9.5 over 60. Next ball game, not on our big screen, but it is going to be Arizona versus Washington State, 9 o'clock East. WAZZU's minus 14, numbers 52.5. Now the Cougs have gotten the W in 4 out of their last 6 ball games. WAZZU's also gone 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. The Cougars are doing a pretty nice job throwing the football. Jaden DeLara has thrown for over 2,200 yards and 19 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Calvin Jackson and Travell Harris, they've combined for over 1,400 yards receiving together, along with a dozen scores. Now they're taking on a 1-9 Arizona team who's scoring only 17 points a game, and they currently rank 103rd in total offense. Meanwhile, defensively, the Wildcats are 104th in the nation in yards allowed per play on the road. Now, total-wise, Arizona's 4-2 to the under in their last 6. The Wildcats are also 60% to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, Washington State on the other side is 6-4 to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to lean toward Washington State minus 14, under 52.5. And with that, guys, let's jump into our next and final matchup. San Diego State versus UNLV, 11:30 Eastern start time. The San Diego State Aztecs are minus 11, totals 41. Now, the Aztecs have one of the best defenses in college football. They're allowing only 17 points a game, and they're holding their opponents to just 83 yards a game rushing. Cameron Thomas has 8.5 sacks on the year, 57 total tackles. Meanwhile, Patrick McMorris has 72 tackles on the year, along with 7 PBUs and a fumble recovery. San Diego State is in the top 10 in fewest yards allowed per game. They're taking on a 2-8 running Rebels team who has a tough time moving the football. They're 119th in offensive yards per game. Meanwhile, defensively, UNLV gives up 32 points per contest, and they rank 112th in pass defense. Now, 3 out of the Rebels' last 5 home games fell under the number. Meanwhile, the Aztecs are 3-1 to the under on the road, 60% to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean towards San Diego State minus 11, under 41. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 4-0 in our last 4 NBA tier package picks. I like Louisiana Tech minus 15.5 over 49. Give me Air Force minus 1 over 53. I like Memphis plus 9.5 over 60. Washington State minus 14 under 52.5. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, just another reminder that we're also 12-2 with a push in our last 15 extra daily picks on brockpage.com. I'm going to lean towards San Diego State minus 11 under 41. And with that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Kenny Collins, who said the other day, I started off my week with Eastern Michigan. I look forward to your college picks. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind you're going to get access to that content, to those picks, all the way through the end of November. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.